Hey. Welcome to another episode of Riding with Styles. Sorry for the late start. Um, Sometimes I get called into these impromptu meetings and I have to satisfy my clients or potential clients. They are way more important than driving with Styles. Unfortunately, that's how it is right now. I got to make that paper for my family, so sometimes these things will happen. Um, on top of that, I don't have much to talk about. Well, I always have something to talk about. I just haven't planned anything. I didn't have a one topic to really hone in and address. I am highly upset at the results from the World Series last night. Um, if you don't know, I'm a big Astros fan. Growing up, you had a choice of either the Cubs, since they were on WGN, and I didn't like Harry Carey. I'm one of those guys. Um, the Braves, didn't like Dale Murphy. I was one of those guys. Or the Astros. Those were the three teams that are broadcast locally. And I love me some Jose Cruz. So I was an Astros fan. But I'm not a baseball fan. Baseball is it's probably the worst major sport to watch. At least if you watch golf, there's so many guys on the course at one time that they can flip flop to different players when they're hitting or putting, and there's always action. But that baseball game last night, I don't watch a full game ever. There's no need to. It's like a soap opera. You can always catch it in the middle with no problem. So I never watch a full baseball game. That thing last night was horrible. Baseball's got to do something. I don't know what they can do, since I'm not really a baseball guy, but they have to do something to address that. There's more dead time than actual time where they're actually pitching or hitting or doing something. It's not good for Game 7 to be that boring. I mean, it's 3+ hours of nothing. So I'm very upset about that, although because my childhood team didn't bring home another World Series, and we have lost 3 in my lifetime. Lost to the White Sox when I was in Chicago, and then we lost, I guess, twice, because we didn't make it to the World Series last year. Lost to the Red Sox in the ALCS. Then we lose this year with home field advantage. Had to win Game 6, and we pitched, like I said, we pitched Greinke a little bit too long. We usually get him out there in 5. Should have got him out there in 5, and kick the tires on Garrett Cole to see if he can go, because he's not coming back next year. So use his arm up. It's unfortunate. Next thing that just popped up to my head is recruiting. What helped us out last week more than anything, to me as a recruit, is the fact that we had 40-some thousand people there in a rainstorm for a team that was 3 and 4. That's pretty impressive. As a young kid who's wanting to play and can see the fan support, the enthusiasm, the atmosphere in a situation like that, I think it makes a kid think like this group of people support this team almost regardless. That's a pretty good selling point, especially with the uptick we have, and so that shouldn't be a problem. But all that we've gone through this year, for the last 2 home games, that Arkansas game was, I could feel the electricity through the TV, and to actually be there last Saturday to see that many people come out was impressive. I think that helps more than anything. Because I'm hearing how this Saturday is supposed to be, next Saturday is a big game because we got some Tennessee kids, and if we beat them, that helps. If a kid is really relying on one victory against the other team that's recruiting him, don't believe that. Please don't. Because that has no bearing on what's going to happen when he gets to school. Just because one of those teams win should not have any bearing on his selection process. There's so much more in the recruiting process that's got to be almost at the bottom. If a kid says that, he's not being totally honest. If we lose to, I'm not going to put that in the atmosphere. When Tennessee loses to us, but they have a shortage of corners, for example, why would a kid come to UK when he could probably go to Tennessee, hypothetically, and play his freshman year, than to come to UK and have to sit out 2 years just because we beat them next Saturday? I don't think that's a reason. I don't even think that's a tilting point. It's a nice narrative to put out there and to take some heat off of you in the recruiting process, because then you can just say, hey, they lost. That's why I'm going. That kind of takes a little heat off you probably. But in actuality, come on. That's kind of a fake news reason, and it's not a very smart reason if you're really worried about going to the best program for yourself, because that can be a lot of things. Could be your major. Yeah, there's so many things that go into it, and I don't think that is even half of one. Hopefully these recruits understand where we're heading as a program, how we're trending upward, even with some people will say rebuilding season, even though I didn't feel that way. That we have been competitive in every game, even the Georgia game. We were very competitive in the Georgia game, and hopefully some of these kids can see themselves in the blue and white, and on signing day, when it's signing day next fall, that they will stay true to their commitment and come to old Lex Vegas so I can critique them on Watching with Styles I'm sure that's the reason why they would want to come to UK so they can get their likeness shown on Watch with Styles. I'm sure that will increase their Twitter followers because I have so many in myself that they will pump up their popularity. Uh, but I trust uh, Coach Stoops tomorrow and everyone else on the staff uh, to seal these deals and bring one of the best recruiting classes that I've seen at UK since I've been affiliated with the school. It's going to be very interesting. It was good to see Weaver and Carey get some PT. That 4-game thing is man, that's killer. Get those kids' feet wet. See how they deal with the speed of the game of playing in conference. It's kind of interesting that they gave them these games because I know the game was kind of at hand, but still to play against quote unquote good in Missouri team, that was good to see. Saw Weaver flash a couple times. So that was good to see. I would like to see, and I know I'm biased. I'm biased when I say this. I would like to see Gilmore in that UT Martin game. Once, hopefully, we handle our business and get up early, and maybe we can see him in the second half, see what he can do, because I'm hearing things, but physically, unless he went the Markelle Fultz way and get into the next level and something changes. One thing that doesn't change for a quarterback is his ability to spin the ball. And I've seen the kid spin it. And I've heard he was spinning in practice. So I don't know what is his issue. Even if it's picking up the offense, you can always give him 2 or 3 plays to hone in, and some plays off of that develops off of those plays. So I would really like to see him play a little bit this year, and that's a personal reason. He's a hometown boy, and I've seen the kid play, and he has it. Now, obviously, he doesn't have it right now for the coaches to trust him, but I've seen him play against some decent teams in the state of Louisiana, and he has produced. As I've said before, he didn't get as much recognition because he sat out his junior year because he transferred from Hammond High School to Amite High School to play with a couple absolute studs. That team they had was unfair for the classification that they played in. Both his receivers, one of them went to Louisiana Tech, and one of them went to LSU. So that alone shows you the talent that was around him to spin it to. As I tell some of my ex-teammates ask me what I tell them, he's a left-handed Terry Wilson. I think he can probably spin it better than Terry, but Terry is probably faster than he is, just from an athletic standpoint. Don't know what's in his head, how smart he is, football smart, um, but talent wise, he is Terry, but he's left-handed. Um, so I'm very excited to finally see him play. Um, so I would like to see him play that one game and see what he can do. Well, this was a little shortened version. Like I said, I had that meeting, so I apologize. But I am at my client's and try to find some parking. And I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for joining, guys.